Guys, today we're on Chapter 5, Lesson 4, Terminating and Repeating Decimals. Our objectives here are you're going to be able to label decimals, either terminating or repeating decimals. You'll be able to create equivalent decimals and fractions using two different techniques. All right, so a terminating decimal we've talked about a little bit is a decimal that stops at a certain number, and it is also a rational number. So these are all examples. So 2.35, 71.36, 101, and 2,945 ten thousandths, and then 0.004. If you notice, all of these decimals stop. They stop at a certain point. So that's what makes them terminating, because when you terminate something, it means you end or stop. Okay? All right, a repeating decimal is a rational number that repeats in a certain pattern. So 1.222, these dots means that it goes on in that particular pattern. Okay? So in order to write it in a shorter, more easier way, is we're going to write it like this, 1.2, and since the only part of the repeating decimal is the 2 repeating, we're going to put a line over the 2. Okay, same thing down here. We have 0.4545454545, so it is 0.45 with a line over it. This line is called bar notation. So we're putting a bar over the part that repeats. Okay, same thing down here. We have 10.72 over and over and over again. So we're going to go with 10.72 with the bar notation or with the line over it. When you use the bar notation, it's just called shorthand, which means that you're writing it in a shorter way to explain what it means for the long way. Okay, so let's talk about a few examples that are non-repeating and non-terminating. Okay, if you have a number like this, 2.47398111256. Okay, it's non-terminating obviously because it's going to go on forever, but it's also non-repeating because it doesn't go in a certain pattern. It's just a bunch of numbers all jumbled up together. So this is a non-example. So you see something like that, folks? It's non-terminating and it's non-repeating. Okay? All right, so now we're going to go from a fraction to the equivalent, which means equals the same thing, decimal. So we have 6 over 7. Okay, so we're not going to, instead of saying 6 over 7, we're going to start saying out of. So we have 6 out of 7, or 6 divided by 7. All right? So we have our numerator under our division bar, and then we have our denominator on the outside. Okay? All right. So the first thing we do is we put our numbers in their correct spots. So we have 6 in our, which is our numerator, and then 7, which is our denominator on the outside. So I put them there. The second part is I'm going to put my decimal point in right here and right here. Make sure that they are in line. So if I drew like an invisible line like that, it'd be in line. Okay? Okay. There we go. Second step here, I'm going to add in 2 zeros, because when we divide our fractions, when we go from a fraction to a decimal, I want you to stop at the hundredths place. Okay? So in our zeros would signify the hundredths place right there. So let's start dividing. So how many times can 7 go into 6? That's right, 7 can't go into 6 any whole number of times, so we put a 0 right there. Now we go, how many times can 7 go into 60? Well, if we need to use our multiplication tables for help, please do. Oh, I knew you guys would know the answer. 7 times 8. So 8's going to go above that 0. 7 times 8 is 56. So let's subtract. Let's borrow from our 5. 10 minus 6 is 4. 5 minus 5 is 0. Then I bring down my next 0. How many times can 7 go into 40? Well, if you do your multiples of 7, you would see that it would be 5 times. 7 times 5 is going to be 35, so let's subtract 35. We get 5. Now, if I kept putting in zeros up here like this, we could continue dividing, but I just want you to stop at the hundredths place for right now. Okay? So the equivalent decimal to 6 over 7, or 6 out of 7, is going to be 0.85. Okay, let's do this again. So let's do 4 out of 9, or 4 divided by 9. Remember, our numerator goes on the inside, denominator goes on the outside. Okay? So, I'm going to just pause the video and let you get started on this. When you're ready to continue, hit play. Okay, I'm sure in your workbook, you have a very similar problem set up where we have 4 under the division bar and 9 on the outside. I'm sure your decimals are also lined up like mine with your 2 zeros for placeholders. All right, let's start dividing. How many times can 9 go into 4? Very good, 0 times. We don't need to multiply 9 by 0 and then subtract because we already know it's 0. So how many times can 9 go into 40? That's correct, guys. How many times? 5 times. Let's erase this little line here. There we go, Dagger. Okay. So 9 times 5 is going to be 45. Ooh, that is too high. Thanks for correcting me, guys. 9 times 4. 9 times 4 is 36. We're going to subtract 36. Borrow from our 4. It's going to be 4. Bring down the 0. Again, how many times can 9 go into 40? 4 times. Minus 36. And we're going to stop right there. So the equivalent decimal to 4 out of 9 is going to be 0 and 44 hundredths. Okay? So the hardest part here is remembering where each number goes, right? Remember, numerator goes on the inside, denominator goes on the outside. Line up your decimal points and divide. Okay, so now we're going from decimals to fractions, okay? So, but in order to do that, we need to review our place value, okay? So, right after this is a little decimal point. Oops, I just erased it. Sorry. Right here is our decimal point. It goes tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. Okay? All right. So, I had 0.21 or 21 hundredths because it ends right here in the hundredths place. Okay, so if it ends in the hundredths place, I know that my new denominator is going to be 100 because it ends in the hundredths place. Then I put my decimal as my new denominator. Okay, so it still reads 21 over 100 or 21 out of 100 or 21 hundredths. All right, let's do, oopsie doopsie. Let's do 9 and 0.345. Okay, now this is our whole number, right? So we're dealing with fractions. That's going to go out front. Then we're done with the 9 part. This ends in the thousandths place. So if our decimal ends in the thousandths place, we know that our denominator is going to be 1,000. Okay? Then this number right here is our new numerator. Okay? Now, soon we're going to start simplifying the fractions, but for right now, let's just set it up correctly. Okay? All right, let's do 1 and 1 and 7/10, right? Our whole number goes out in front for our mixed number now. That looks kind of sloppy, sorry. Okay, this ends, the 7 is in the tenths place. So we know our new denominator is going to be 10, and our numerator is going to be our 7. So 1 and 7/10. It's really sloppy, sorry. Okay? All right, now you do these two on your own. This is the last thing you're going to do before the end of the video. Let's have 2 out of 5, and I want you to try to get the equivalent decimal. And then I have 6 and 532 thousandths. Okay? All right, try these out on your own. Hit play whenever you're ready to check your answers. Okay, so for 2 out of 5 or 2 divided by 5, the equivalent decimal is going to be 0.4 or 0.40. Then for 6 and 532 thousandths, it should be 6 as our whole number. I'll write this a little differently. Hold on. 6 is our whole number, and then 532 on top, 1,000 on the bottom. I got 1,000 as our denominator because our answer ends in the thousandths place. Okay, all right. So make sure that all your notes are complete. If you need to watch this video or re-watch it again for class tomorrow, I would do so. And I will see you next time. Bye, guys.